Okay, everyone, it looks like I think most of our participants are in the webinar now, so we want to honor everybody's time and get started. So thank you. My name is Amber Surya. I'm the Executive Director of Mavericks Community Foundation. We appreciate you all being here. Just a reminder, this is a webinar, so you can see us, but we can't see you. If you have questions, you can go ahead and use the Q&A function, and we will be monitoring it throughout the presentation to try and get any questions answered. And the session is also being recorded. So after it's over, the recording will be posted on the Coastside Gives website. It will be posted under the NPO toolkit, so that you are able to go ahead and access it and re-listen, or have other members of your organizations or volunteers listen as you need to. So we're going to get started this morning with Ellen from Mighty Cause, followed by Alejandra and Rita from Puente. Ellen's gonna focus on some information for you guys about matching grants and the peer-to-peer fundraising tools within Mighty Cause, which we are excited about. This functionality will be super helpful. I know a lot of you have used it in past years, and we think that it's going to be even easier to take advantage of these functions with the Mighty Cause platform. So Ellen, if you want to go ahead and get started.
Hello, everyone. I'm Ellen, and I am going to share my screen. Oh, way ahead. All right, everyone, welcome. My name is Ellen Goody, and I am from Mighty Cause. Just kind of a little housekeeping thing. This webinar will be recorded and put in the resources area of this Coastside Gives site. So you'll be able to find it there or send it to anyone who was unable to make it today. So today we're going to start with our agenda. So we're just going to kind of go over some basics once again of the platform, just to kind of, now that you've all submitted your registration, just some reminders there, and then also go through some goal setting, matching grants, peer-to-peer fundraising, marketing and promotional tips, and then some other resources for you all. If you have any questions while I'm going through anything, please pop it in the chat and we will hopefully get to it. And if not, we will reach out to you after the fact. So now that you've completed your registration, I just wanted to once again show you your profile page. This is your homepage for Coastside Gives. You will see your URL at the top, and that is what you will want to share with all of your followers, Instagram and everything there. Once the challenge has started, that will also be the link that you will want to share. So if you are having any issues putting your page together now that you've been in the platform, I just wanted to reiterate to reach out to support@mightycause.com, and they will be happy to help you with any questions you have. So your profile is once again your face for Coastside Gives. So I just want to make sure that it's good and represents you well. You will want to take some time to customize it to the way that you would like it. You can, there's a lot you can do on it, as I'm sure all of you know, and I just want to make sure that you spend some time on your pages. I also wanted to bring up your dashboard again. We definitely recommend taking some time to get to know your dashboard. It automatically puts you on that welcome page. And on your dashboard, you can get your overview. You can see your reports. This is also where you will see all your fundraising tools and everything there. This is where you will see your checkout and your settings. If there's something that you for some reason can't find, once again, you can reach out to support@mightycause.com. And in a few slides, this is where you will also find your matching grants tool under fundraising. I also wanted to talk through, once again, customizing your checkout flow. This is located in your fundraising section on your dashboard. The checkout flow is really your donor's experience. So the first part to customize is your checkout steps. So this is probably one of the most important features to focus on when you're setting up your organization's page. The checkout flow section gives you a lot of control over your donation process for your organizations on Mighty Cause. It also allows you to opt in to collecting any information you may want from your donors, like addresses and phone numbers. You can also set up your custom suggested donation amounts, and you can add descriptions to tie those amounts into items or services that your nonprofit provides and strengthen your appeal for donation during Coastside Gives. The checkout steps within your checkout flow also allow you to preview the whole checkout process without making a test donation, so you can kind of see exactly what that final checkout process will be for your donors. You can also add a post CTA button that you can either have people, good example would be to have them added to your email list or lead them to something else you would want after the challenge is over. I'm briefly going to touch on some goal setting. So we like to use SMART goals. I'm sure all of you are pretty familiar. SMART goals are specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. Organizations that express goals in this way stay aligned with their mission. So kind of a great example of a SMART goal would be to retain 40% of your donors from the Coastside Gives campaign, or increase total amount raised by 5,000 from the previous year. Some not so smart goals: raise money, engage people. Those are pretty vague. So just kind of keep your goals smart and you will be more successful. Another great thing is you'll want to scale your goals for the campaign. Set goals that are realistic and achievable based on your organization's size and fundraising capacities. Look to last year's results, which are on the platform if you participated last year, to determine what an appropriate fundraising goal may be for your organization. Focus on setting goals that are meaningful for your organization and what the money will do to make a difference for your organization. Another great thing is to set some non-monetary goals, and this challenge is a great opportunity to engage people in your organization. I think we'll talk more about kind of volunteers in that sense with Puente, but just a great way to get everyone engaged. And we'll talk through that with some P2P fundraising. I also wanted to talk about donor retention. We do have a donor retention report that is on your organization page. So I want to make sure that you utilize that donor retention report in the report section of your dashboard. It gives you a great snapshot of how your org is retaining donors year over year. You can also export that information for your challenge. Okay, time for matching grants. So a great strategy for driving donations on your giving day is securing a matching grant. A matching grant is essentially a large donation that your nonprofit leverages to bring in other smaller donations by offering it as a match. So for instance, if someone is willing to give you 1,000 instead of just putting that money in the bank and calling it a day, you could use that as a matching grant. So in the terms of the grant are totally up to you and the grantor, but let's say that there is an hourly prize that you would like to take advantage of and try to win, then you can take that $1,000 and say to your followers, hey, between this hour and this hour, donations will be matched up to $1,000. which basically allows them to double their donation. And you can also do a lot with the Mighty Cause tool, and we'll go over that, like setting a cap for donation matching. So say only $200, so someone doesn't come through and completely take out that match. So it's really cool, and it's a complex tool, but it does a really good job of laying everything out for you. And once again, you can always reach out to support@mightycause.com if you're having any questions about setting up your matching grants. So let's, since they are, matching grants are really a large donation, you'll want to kind of follow the same process that you would to secure a major gift. So prospect, cultivate, and ask. Prospect who could provide a matching grant. Make a list of people, groups, or use who you have a strong history with and may be likely to provide a grant. Outreach, use personal one-on-one outreach to touch base with your prospects, let them know about Coastside Gives and give them what they are going, what they have kind of going on. Ask if they seem to be open and able to being involved in Coastside Gives. Make your ask, let them know about the matching grant and see if they will provide one. So people you should consider as prospects for a matching grant are board members, first and foremost. Sometimes an individual board member will be happy to provide a matching grant, but one thing you can also consider is asking your board to work together to provide a match. If your board still has to pay for dues, or you could utilize their dues by turning it into a matching grant. Major gift donors who are given large donations to your nonprofit in the past are also good prospects and good at providing a matching grant. And this can be a fun way to liven up their donations. So instead of just writing a check, they're helping your nonprofit grow and drive other donations. You can also give donors some extra recognition when they're promoting these matches. So major gift donors who like a little shout out are even more likely to provide a matching grant. Also with our tool, you can see that you could, if a business was providing that matching grant, you can include their logo. You can also include their names in those matching grants. So it's a great little promotional tool for other people as well. So this is our matching grants tool. Once again, you will find that on your dashboard under fundraising and then matching grants. As you can see, it really lays out all the questions you will need to create your match. So you can also, as I said, you can add a logo, the match value, set the date and time the match is active, and choose your match type. Types of matches, you can do per donation match, choose what percentage of each donation to match, set a cap on that amount, that can be matched, or you can do a cumulative threshold. The match is met when the donation amount or number of donations has been met. You can also time your matches, as we said, to specific power hours, or you can, and then can also make them go consecutively. So once one match has been completed, then another match will start. So this is where your matching grants will display. They will have the sticker will be added to your donate button. So people, when they're donating, will automatically know that there is a matching grant active. So they're the full profile of the grant, including the match type, sponsor, or grantor's name, amount of the grant amount, will be displayed under your organization's story. So in your section, you'll be able to see where that matching grant section is. And then donors can also search for your organization with matching grants in the search of Coastside Gives. So here are a few frequently asked questions about matching grants. Do donations made to peer-to-peer or fundraising pages count towards the match? This is your choice. You can set this up in the matching grants tool when you are setting up your match. Can I have more than one matching grant active at the same time? Yes, you can have multiple different matching grants active at the same time. And then once again, if you entered your matching grant wrong, what do? You can edit the grant as long as it's not closed, but if it has gone into effect or you are having an issue with it, you can always just delete it and start over. The way the matching grant tool works, it is just with timing. So if during the day you realize that the matching grant is wrong, you can backtrack that time to count towards whatever prizes you were trying to work with there. But also, once again, reach out to support at Mighty Cause. They will be there day of, they will be there before the challenge to really help you set up anything you would like to ahead of time. So really, at the end of the day, a matching grant is a great marketing tool for your organization. So in order to make the most of your matching grant, you'll want to promote it. So the first step is going to the matching grants tool on your Coastside Gives profile and adding it there. There are some marketing tools built into the platform for your matching grant, such as putting a sticker on your donate button and keeping it there. But you'll also want to add some information to your story, especially if it's a big match, and promote it on your social media channels as well. Send out some emails and so on to all of your followers to know that you have this matching grant coming up. Countdowns add some urgency. So counting down and sharing the progress of that matching grant is a great way to get people excited and urge them to stop what they're doing and make their donation to make it really count. On to peer-to-peer fundraising. So peer-to-peer fundraising is a technique where you basically deputize your supporters to fundraise on your behalf. The Mighty Cause platform is actually set up for some very easy peer-to-peer fundraising. So it can be a great way to shake up your campaign and acquire some new donors. So if you want to try peer-to-peer, you would want to ask your ambassadors to set up a fundraising page for your nonprofit on Mighty Cause for this year's Coastside Gives. This may sound like a big ask, but it's often a really fun way to engage your biggest supporters and allow them to tell their own story about your nonprofit, how they came to work with you and why your work is important to them. And this doesn't distract or draw any attention away from your campaign because they are operating alongside your campaign and reaching out to people they know personally for their donations. So in most cases, the people who are doing peer-to-peer fundraisers for you, they're reaching out to their friends and colleagues and people who are not already involved in your organization. So for people like your board, volunteers, staff, and program alumni, this can be a great way for them to get involved without just being asked to give money. And it can also make it much more meaningful for them rather than just making a donation. They're feeling a little bit more involved than they normally would be. We've also seen nonprofits get some great peer-to-peer action going by just inviting people on social media or sending them an email asking for their help. And so for a lot of younger people who may not be able to make a large donation, this is a great way for them to get involved as well. To make it easier for them, you can share some images, some talking points, some facts, or your logo, just so it's very easy for them to set up their peer-to-peer fundraising page. Nonprofits that use peer-to-peer fundraising tend to raise more money on their giving days. So it's definitely worth talking about how you can incorporate it into your campaign strategy. The timeline is a great way for you to get started on this. Coming in May, you have plenty of time to kind of get started on these peer-to-peer fundraising. I also wanted to talk about our team fundraising pages. So if you manage to generate a lot of interest in your peer-to-peer, or you've done that previously for Coastside Gives in the past, teams and events can be great for groups of people who want to fundraise together, like your board or companies or just volunteer groups. Teams and events can be a great way to get people working together and united for your cause and inspire some friendly events and a little bit of competition amongst people. The difference between teams and events is basically that an event allows individuals and groups of people to participate and fundraise together, while a team fundraiser is a group of individuals working together towards a collective goal. Now, the cool thing about using our teams or events products for your giving day is that there are already a lot of tools built in to help these groups and make it much easier. So for instance, you can create a template fundraiser that people can set up more quickly and pre-fill some of those sections in on their page already for them. So you can email the team and event members through the platform to keep them motivated. These are essentially just a little bit more complex than a regular peer-to-peer fundraising campaign, but can be a great option for people willing to do this as well. I'm going to try to keep these a little bit shorter. I did want to kind of talk briefly through some marketing and promotion tips. Yes, these are great examples. Make it personal, be visual, share different aspects of your story on social media, tailor the ask to your story, tell donors about the impact that they make. Briefly hitting on email. So your email list is going to be kind of one of your most important tools for Coastside Gives. Unlike social media, you don't have to worry about the algorithm or anything like that. These are people who are already subscribed to connect with you, so they will be reading your emails. So emails are very important. Some great examples are to pay close attention to the timing of your emails, especially if you're aiming to win those timed prizes. I would recommend taking the time to schedule as much as you can beforehand and have a template email ready for things that you can send out day of. Blast emails letting people know how you're doing in your giving day campaign on the day, keeping people updated. Another thing I definitely would recommend is making sure that your CTAs are action-oriented, like things like give now, donate now, help us today. More passive CTAs like thanks for donating or please contribute aren't as effective as these more clear and urgent calls to action. Okay, we are going to let Puente talk about, for high stakes days, we really definitely recommend using social media. Having someone who can be your point person for social media is very important as well to engage with anyone that may be commenting on any of your pictures or anything like that. You can pre-schedule so many of your social posts. So we recommend doing that before your day. You can start setting these up as soon as possible. We definitely also recommend kind of staying in your lane. If you've never used TikTok before, don't plan on using TikTok for your first Coastside Gives. Some social media content that always really works are videos. Live streams have been very, very helpful on days of, and then also images, so strong and striking images. They do not need to be professional. There's been plenty of studies that people, especially with nonprofits, just love big smiles and puppies. So keep it simple and happy, and people will continue to be engaged. Also wanted to briefly touch on following up and how important that will be for after your day. You will want to really, when kind of you're planning your content, you'll just want to make sure you have that thank you to donors. Once again, you'll see in your dashboard, we do have a place where you can write an immediate thank you after their donation has been made, a personalized thank you. Once again, you can set up another CTA call to action on that page as well, leading them to the kind of next steps of their donation. And you could also include a nice video that would thank the donors there as well. Some little fun ways to thank your donors. Send them an email within that 24 hours, even after their receipt. Give them a call. You can add phone numbers to your donation checkout to give them a call. You can and also send a lovely thank you card. And then lastly, and importantly, close the loop after your campaign. Report the results of your final numbers, post them on social media, send another email blast letting everyone know what difference they made for this year's campaign. Close the loop on any storytelling down the road. If you had a particular story or thing you were using these funds for this year's campaign, let them know how that went. Thank everyone again. You cannot thank donors too much. And then just start planting the seeds for next year's campaign, because hopefully you'll participate year after year. Very important page. This information is also on the site as well. But now that you have closed registration and you're starting to get in on your campaigns, I just want to make sure you have access to Mighty Cause. If you have any questions on the site, please reach out to support@mightycause.com. They're happy to help. You can also call them, and they can also do some screen sharing if you are feeling a little too lost. They are there to help you in any way you need help with. Okay, I'm going to switch it over to Puente and look through some questions to see if there's anything I can answer.
Thank you, Ellen. I know that's a lot of information, and actually the peer-to-peer function is very easy. It's very much like the Mighty Cause platform, so it will walk you through filling in all the sections that you need, but go ahead and continue to share questions in the Q&A or the chat as you have them. And then next up, we are going to have Rita and Alejandra from Puente join us. Puente has been participating in Coastside Gives for many years now. They have a lot of experience and some really good, helpful tips and tricks, especially for some of our newer organizations in terms of how to prepare for Gives Day. So thank you so much, Rita and Alejandra, for joining us, and go ahead and take it away.
Thank you very much. So glad to be here. Ale and I are going to split the presentation, and several things actually will connect well with what Ellen was talking about. And just want to remind you all, the goal for us to be here is to share what has worked with us, to share that knowledge with you, and then you feel free to take what you think is going to work. And, you know, maybe there's other things that you'll start not this year, but next year when you build more capacity, and questions are very welcome. All right. So we're very excited. You have heard me a lot of times in this space before, and one of the concerns that I always have is what's going on in the environment. I have some concerns during COVID 20 and 21. And so I feel that there's a lot of generosity in our community, and that's the main thing, to feel kind of like a sense of security for Coastside Gives. Ale, do you mind going to the first next slide? Thank you. So we were talking about the goal and how it needs to be, or our recommendation is that it is specific for something that you need or something that is a new program or a big need within your organization. In our particular case, we leverage, like last year, our goal was $150,000 and we had a match as well. We'll talk about that in a little bit later. But the particular campaign goal was it is actually larger than that for us, because we know that we have some donors that definitely just come through check. We mobilize the portal a lot. And every year we get more money in the portal and we really leverage that. We actually have quit promoting other platforms just to make sure that this is the place our contributions come, because it's not just about our own campaign, but I feel it's also about Coastside Gives and continue building that momentum for Coastside Gives. But yeah, I think with your group of peers, it does help a lot to have a specific goal. And then, still we have some uncertainties about COVID. So we'll see a little further down how we recommend for events. Giving in person is really nice. You have the opportunity to engage with the donors and kind of like build that relationship for future years, but think about what the impact will be for the pandemic. I won't go too deep into this because Helen already talked about the match, but I'll share with you that emphasize, yes, it works. I don't know the science behind it. It's just, it really motivates people to give. And they really feel that is the best time to give an investment on your organization, because their money goes a long way with the match or the triple match. And something that I've shared we do at Puente, and it just helps me sleep at night, is trying to do a lot of the work ahead of Coastside Gives the giving day. And we're really close. Usually we're about 80% of our campaign the day before. And then we know that there's people that just give the day off. They're waiting for the day off to give. But if you can start using some of the tools we'll share in a little bit already, preparing your letters, recruiting ambassadors, other people to play with you on this activity, that way you are up from before the big day. We try to segment the people that we're going to reach out to. Of course, we do have lapsed donors. We have them particularly during the fire in 2020. We got a lot of new donors. Some of them were completely out of state and returned. So we try to figure out a strategy to reach out to them, communicate differently with community members, with parents, etc. So think about who are you reaching out to. And then for the contributions, we use the platform, as I said. We do have a system to account really fast during that month and that day for checks and for cash. Behind the scenes, we are always communicating with the Mavericks Foundation to report the totals so that they can count them for the overall campaign. And this is really helpful, at least for us. Once we figured out what our goal is, to think about who is already in our world that will support this campaign. Some of them are going to be repeated donors. Some of them are going to be, donors at a large capacity. But I honestly feel that we don't reach the goal in this campaign without a lot of small contributions. Last year, particularly, that made a difference for us the day of. We felt that we were starting slow, and then it was like a lot of small contributions that helped us reach the goal that we had. And so I know we all agree that there's no small amount, and there's really no small amount. All of it helps you just get to where you want to get. And so just try to have a strategy. It's almost like you're just projecting what ideally will be for your organization, how many donors at that level you need, how many large donors. And if you can identify some of them, for example, I know some of you are schools. You can think, okay, we have this many parents at the school. If each family, gave $10 or 20, we could raise this much. And then you can figure out the strategy around that, around reaching out to parents, for example. And in terms of people that help you, I call it just kind of like amplify your message, is all those folks that love the work that you do. and they already like big supporters and friends of your organization. We do have some folks that, you know, give us at a small amount because that's what they can afford, but man, they are so active on social media. And so they can either create their own campaign or share your campaign, but be systemic about it. I think that if you just send an invitation like, oh, we invite you to please share this campaign, you'll get some people that will do it. But if you invite them directly, like, hey, I'll mention our former executive director, hey, Kerry, can you please, you know, do this? And then, you know, we go back and forth on the details, then you secure people that are gonna do that for you. And so you go through your list, be methodic about how many people who are gonna reach out to them, and by when you would like them to have their own page, or when do you want them to share your information. But sometimes, even if people cannot make a financial contribution because they can't, like the support that they provide to your campaign, messaging it out is huge. Go on, Ale. And Ale, make sure you tell me when it's your turn. And then activate your internal teams as well. So for sure, we always work with our staff. Everybody gets to play a role at different levels. Some of them just help us the day off. Some of them is like, okay, you're gonna have your event with the taquero and everything, I'll help there. Some of them actually volunteer, or not volunteer, but like can get engaged to do some of the mailing, you know, preparation, putting letters together. Some of our own staff have students that need to do community service hours, and they recruit them and they come, and we have honestly volunteers as young as probably like 8 years old, helping us to prepare for this campaign, as well as seniors. It's just like the intergenerationality is really cool. Get other organizations. I do like a lot during Coastside Gives. And maybe this is more like a little regional thing, but I know the Pescadero Foundation promotes Puente. We promote the De La Honda Foundation, the Pescadero Foundation. Like, I think it speaks so well about our Coastside community when we cross support each other, or if somebody gets a prize, and I always tease them because everybody has better luck than we do, just like, you know, just to cheer for them. So I would say that instead of taking away from us, just highlighting other organizations that work closely with us actually is a good thing. And some of us, and probably some of you, you know, we volunteer at the school, we are part of this organization, we're also part of other groups. And so just, you know, using your different hats to promote organizations is good. For sure, you'll see an example, I think that's my last slide, of one of our students who is an alumni for our program. And, you know, the simple message that she gave, that it was very strong. Like, those are people that are amazing and have benefited from our program, have informed the programs that we do. And so just engaging them in the campaign is pretty cool. Outreach. I feel that we cannot assume that people know. Every so often I found people that have no idea who Puente is, even though they live in our community. More if I'm in Half Moon Bay, I'm like, what, you don't know about Puente? And so don't assume that people know what you do. And so share what you do, start early on. And remember, like, we're not charitable organizations. We are organizations that are looking for improving our communities, making our communities equitable. Some people are just like, don't have certain things that they should have. And so don't be apologetic about the work that we're doing. I think people appreciate the opportunities to support good work. And this is a really good opportunity. So try to use as many things as you can, but within your capacity. So we use, of course, like flyers, postcards, the giving guide with the scanning code. Man, that's been an amazing tool. So make sure that you pass it around your supporters as well. We do have all our materials bilingual because it matters for us to do it that way. And the Coastside Gives is called the Puenteton in Spanish. And that's what we have used for several years. So see if your name works with ton, and that's what people use kind of in some of the Spanish speaking countries. QR codes, we started using those in letters as well, and it has worked really well. our letters, Alejandra primarily prepares them, we review them together, but at the end of the day, I sign all those letters and I add a note to all those letters. It takes time, but it really matters that people know we appreciate. They could choose out of the 60-something nonprofit organizations in this campaign to give. And so I want to make them feel that we appreciate them for choosing Puente as to be one of them. And we know many donors give to a lot of different organizations that are participating. We do set up a way to make phone calls. We engage volunteers and board members and staff members to do that. We prepare a bunch of MailChimps to send out. I used to feel really bad about sending a lot of those communications. And I have to say, people are like, oh, thank you for reminding us. And we have a way to take out donors that already give. So then the messages go only to those who haven't given yet within our own database. And so it's actually, I mean, I see it. I always tell Ale, I see it. Once she sends a chimp at a time, 30 minutes later, right? Like I start seeing the contributions coming in. So it really works. And I wish I had more time to analyze all that information, but it does work. Pursue the challenges. Some of them, Mavericks makes it really easy for us to win them. And some of them are just luck, and but just try to get those at the end. It adds on the contributions to your organization. And if you can, do an event, even if it's a small one. We started really small and now it's a little bit bigger, but people really like to come in person and give. And then you have some swag, we have some. And so people, it's a little bit like they come and give a donation, they can choose a hat or a shirt or something like that. And that works as well. I know that's more of an investment, but if you have a donor willing to do that kind of investment for you, take it. You know, maybe they won't give during Coastside Gives, but they give you some funds to leverage and increase the giving for your organizations during Coastside Gives. And if people love your organization, they like your organization swag. And then, you know, at the end, part of the outreach to me is doing that thank you letter or thank you call, because that's how you stay engaged with your donors for the next one. People are always telling us that they like that we make phone calls to appreciate their donation, even though they get the receipt and they get the letter, but they like the, you know, they like the phone calls as well. Next one, Ale. And yeah, this is one of the student participants, and she just wanted to write her own message about why she's supports Puente as well and the program that she went through. And by the way, this kid is in UCLA right now, and she's not a kid, she's a young lady, and she's doing really well. And so it's just really important that community members come back to the organization, and now they are supporting it and creating that pathway of realizing dreams for other people and the younger generations. Ale, your turn.
Thank you, Rita. And this story actually is very near and dear to me because it does talk about the work that we do and also highlighting where the funds will be going to. So use your participants and your community members to help you spread the word about the work that you're doing. And again, going back to the specifics of where you're fundraising to, this is you know, a good example of using their messaging to help you raise funds for your programs. So thank you, Rita. And again, my name is Alejandra Ortega, Fund Development Director at Puente. And our next slide will actually be, let me see here, I'll be multitasking. Here is a sample of a postcard that we send out to our postal patrons. This is one thing to consider, but I wanted to go back and highlight what Ellen had said in one of her slides is capacity. So you can get all these people, your team, but really think about what you can do. So all of these ideas sound great, and then things happen, and then you have to adjust to the circumstances and the situation at that moment in time. So, you know, things happen and then you're like, okay, we can't do that anymore, but we'll adjust and do this instead. This is something that is kind of a low-hanging fruit for us because we can reach our 4 service areas and let everyone know that we are fundraising for Coastside Gives. So even though, again, we might think we have a good reach of our community, there's still people out there who don't know about the work that we do or what we're doing during certain times of the year. So this is a great way to reach out to them. And again, adding specific dates, a QR code, your mission, or maybe a messaging that's in there. Let me show the next slide. And what we're doing. We're putting in our information about our match and where funds will go to. So this is a postcard from last year, and then even using, adding our Facebook and Instagram in there because we know we want to reach different audiences. All right, so amplifying your campaign, it has been talked about, but I do want to just reiterate that it is important to think about your different partners, your different groups, and what they can do to help you spread the word. Most importantly, I think for many of you, it's your community, your parents from school groups that can help you at least share what they're doing, even within their own families or relatives or friends. So you have, these are just some ideas of who you can reach out to. Let's see. And of course, community events. You have any programs that are starting, share your flyer, share your giving guide, tell your groups about what this event is doing and when it's happening, and they can help you amplify this your campaign in general. MailChimp, this is something that we use to reach out to our donors. So again, kind of think about when is a good time. You have your first, maybe your first communication goes out on March 1st, which is when the page goes live. And then you kind of set some other goals of when you want to send out specific communications, getting closer to the date, a reminder like tomorrow's Coastside Gives. Where you're at your campaign is very important because it will tell your donors like, man, they still have a ways to go. Rita mentioned something that happened to us last year. I think for the first time, we were kind of low on our percentage coming up to May 4th or May 5th. And so we sent that message where we were at in terms of percentages, and then we started seeing those donations come in. Stories are actually pretty good because we are wanting to share what's happening in those programs or how you're supporting your community. So specific stories, we shared the one about this wonderful youth who's now in UCLA and they transferred. That's a wonderful story. Maybe you want to share a short video. That's always great. So specific messaging will go a long way. Okay, ask calls. Again, think of capacity, think of who can help you do that. A lot of people are very nervous and they sweat and they get, they tremble about making calls. So think about who can help you do that, whether it's your staff, whether it's your board members, but there's some people who actually really like to do that. So calling your donors to remind them about Giving Day is a good strategy. Again, if that's something that you can't do this year, but maybe next year, that's totally fine. But really think about what you want to do. And if this is something that you can do, always remember to thank your donors for their previous and current contributions to your organization. Let them know about May 4th, that you have a match is very important, and where your funds will go towards. And always thank them, even if they can't give this year, because we know that, times are difficult. Still thank them for what they're doing. And then you can even mention other ways that they can be involved, including volunteering, which does not cost anything. And a lot of people like that too. And have a deadline to complete your calls is also important, because once you tell your team that information, they will know that they have to do it. And one of the things that we like to do is give a little prize to, sometimes we've just changed it up every year. Like the first person who finishes their calls will get a Pete's gift card or something. Or at the end, give them a little thank you gift for helping with this project. All right, the big day. Also, the big day comes with more projects and things to do. One of them is, if you haven't reached your goal, think about making more calls, sending a few more emails to specific donors who might not have given, but they love to give to Coastside Gives. So really look at your list and see who hasn't given. Try to have active social media, including short videos. It could be of your ED, your program staff, maybe it's a participant holding a sign. Try to also send those reminders so that people know it is Giving Day. And think about pre-scheduling communication so that they go out. You have a designated, usually there's a price that's like the power hour. So maybe think about that. Most donations made on the day of. So think about specific communications that you can send out throughout the day. And even one that's already ready for you to go with a percentage, like we're currently at blah, 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 help us reach 100% by this time. And this includes a thank you at the end, which I'll mention later. We've done a giving event at our office. So you see here our image. We actually have even kids giving. So think about doing something small. This could be with food. Food is very enticing all the time. So think about having some food, appetizers, inviting your community. Really think about your target again. If it's families, if it's community members, think about how you can reach out to them, because that's really important. And if they don't get that messaging, they won't know that you have this event. Strategize prices and share. I know for us, some really work and others are just difficult to catch, like those power hours or those golden tickets. But think about which ones you can attain at your, at this time with the people that you have. And track your dashboard. We've created a dashboard over time just to see where we're at and how much money we still need to raise. So that's something that's been helpful, but if you have the capacity to do, that's a suggestion. And if not, I think just looking at your portal is good, and then how many donations you have. Okay. Here's a sample of our dashboard. So we like to include, the donor's name, how their gift came in, the amounts, and then we have our formulas on top that says how much we're yet to fundraise per different categories, like checks on Coastside Gives portal, cash. All of these are added in there, and even our pledges. And then after everything is done, some of the things that you'll have to do is probably data entry. For sure, we have to track who made donations to us, and then send out thank you letters, thank you posts. If you can already do that beforehand, that's even better, or the day of. Just plan who and how you're going to do this. Thank you notes. Sometimes it's good to involve your board members, volunteers to help you do all of that. So you had volunteers come and help set up on the day of your event, or they helped with mailers. Try to start having your list, prepare your list of who has helped, so that you can send thank you notes and you keep involving those volunteers on an ongoing basis. Thank you calls is also important. There is some statistic that, that says, based on what you do, whether it's a thank you call, a thank you letter, a thank you email, all of those will help out bring your donors back on a year-to-year basis, and they know and they feel acknowledged for their contribution. And then celebrate your staff, your core team, your volunteers. Find a way to thank them, because without them, you really can't do the work and have successful campaigns like this. So think about what you want to do. Again, those gift cards are helpful. Maybe you do a raffle, maybe you do a luncheon, something to thank them. And then adjust every year. Again, think about the situations and circumstances that happen, and that you might not be able to get to everything that you wanted to do, but think about, okay, if at this point in time we can only do this and this and this main three priorities, then go with those, and then you can adjust every year. And with that, our team does a evaluation of the event after we meet, and we talk about what went well, what we could do better, and then we'll look at that the year after. And I think we're done. Yep, we're done. Thank you. Let me stop sharing.
Thank you, Rita and Alejandra. It's always super helpful to hear some of the things that other organizations are doing or trying when it comes to Coastside Gives, how they're reaching out to donors, how they're following up with volunteers and donors, and the super valuable information and reminder that, you know, just as important as folks who can donate money, you may have folks that may not be able to make large donations, but have the capacity to volunteer or help spread the word or are very active on social media. Those sorts of things are really super helpful and important for Coastside Gives, because a lot of it is word of mouth and getting the word out about the event and Gives Day and what's going on. So thank you so much for sharing all of that. We have been answering questions in the chat as they have come up. One thing I did want to say, a participant asked if you did not opt into the giving guide through registration and you've now realized that you would like your organization to participate in the giving guide, please go ahead and email Kelsey, coordinator at maverickscommunityfoundation.org, and she can help you with that if that has come up for anybody.
It really is such a valuable tool. I just wanted to put one more plug in for it. Our data has shown that the nonprofits that don't participate have a lower donation rate. It is a really, really important tool at a very affordable price. So I would strongly try and convince people to invest in that.
Remember, it goes to every Coastside resident. So, I mean, it's a great way for them to learn about your organization, and it's very, very affordable.
I also, oh, sorry, Amber, go ahead.
It is translated also into Spanish, which we have been doing the last couple of years. So that is an important piece of it also.
I also just wanted to put a real quick plug into our next prize meeting, which is going to be in person, which I'm so excited about. Mostly because I feel like pre-COVID, this was one of the times that we saw nonprofits collaborate the most. It's a great time when you are freshly learning about the prizes, being able to talk to people who have participated before and let them talk to you about the strategies that work for those prizes or how your campaign is going up until this point. So it's a really, 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 really important meeting. It's also the meeting that you'll pick up posters and signs. We will have t-shirts for sale here pretty soon that we'll post up on the website. So if you pre-order any t-shirts, you'll be able to pick those up at that time as well. So I really encourage as many people as you can to try and come to that meeting.
There was just a question about when the giving guide gets mailed out. So it usually will get mailed out in April, a couple weeks ahead of actual Gives Day on May 4th, so that it will hit mailboxes and the community will have a chance to, you know, flip through it and take a look at all of the organizations and get an idea of who's participating.
And we also overrun the print run of that. So we'll give you copies of that for you to distribute at your own location or be able to use as tools if you're doing events. And then we also try and distribute them throughout town in numerous locations, coffee shops, places that people might be able to pick up a paper or things like that. Well, we're excited. Thank you all very much for coming. Thank you, Amber and Ellen and Alejandro and Rita and everybody else. We really, really appreciate everything you guys have done and sharing all these great tips with everybody. It's invaluable information.
And just a reminder, we'll be posting the recording for this on coastsidegives.org in the toolkit, so you guys can revisit as you need to. Thanks.
Have a great day.